So, welcome to the latest edition of Brain Talks, a podcast series under the Brain Innovation Days umbrella. So, under the general theme, Disrupt and Rewire, how brain innovation is changing Europe, the Brain Innovation Days aim to bring together key opinion leaders, but also different stakeholders from the growing brain innovation ecosystem. This is really to inspire, but also to create synergies and to showcase the importance of brain innovation and how it is changing Europe. In today's episode, we'll learn a bit more about the winner of the first Brain Innovation Days Public Award for Best Pitch. This award was actually given during our pitch competition in January, where we received more than 1,000 votes, and actually where icompanion was given the award. So they were the winner. Back then, they only had like 3 minutes to explain their idea, but today we'll have a bit more time to really deep dive into the solution. I'm your moderator for today. I'm Elke de Witte. I'm head of project development at the European Brain Council, which is one of the founding partners of the Brain Innovation Days. And today I have Annabelle Descamps with me. She is project manager at icometrix. Welcome, Annabelle. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's very exciting.
And congratulations again for your pitch, because it was you who gave the pitch and you won the award. So maybe indeed, to recap, you work at icometrix, and icompanion is actually a solution of icometrix, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of the products. The company started off with making quantitative MRI reports for brain scans for MS, but at this point we're doing quantitative MRI reports for all kind of neurodegenerative diseases such as epilepsy, Alzheimer's disease, and so on. But so it started with MS, and now with these quantitative MRI reports, we're helping neurologists, but actually in the first place, radiologists. Really putting numbers on the changes in scans. In MS, people get lesions in their brain, and these lesions can either stay stable or enlarge, things like that. And we really put numbers on the volumes, as in how much percentage has been added to the volume of the lesion, or even to the whole brain volume. And really giving radiologists way more insights in the changes between different scans. So that's a subclinical part for MS. So with icompanion, we wanted to cover the clinical part, which is really monitoring the symptoms patients are experiencing, but also other patient-reported outcomes, such as we have questionnaires on fatigue, cognition, things like that. So icompanion really it's just an addition to the subclinical monitoring that was already happening with the first product called icobrain. So now with this combination of products, we think we have a very strong solution to help neurologists get a better insight into whether maybe the treatment of the patient should be changed to get better results, and really directly see whether there's any positive results of a new treatment, because there's just a great continuous monitoring and objective, which is also very important, more objective monitoring of the disease. So that's kind of the concept and how icompanion fits within the company.
Okay, so icompanion itself is a solution, an app for both clinicians and patients that is really about, let's say, the clinical follow-up, or how exactly would you then describe, let's say, the solution itself from like a user perspective?
For the patients, there's an app that they can use to monitor their symptoms. So we really have a clinically validated list of most common MS symptoms that then they can give like a score for the severity of the symptom each day, ranging from being not affected by the symptom at all in their daily activities to 7, which is total limitation due to this symptom. But of course, there's an option to add any custom symptoms. But yeah, we already like made like a suggested list of yeah, custom symptoms, because of course, yeah, it's known what are the side effects of certain treatments, or what are other symptoms besides these 12 common symptoms that yeah, happen to people with MS. So that's a big part, the symptom tracking. We also believe it's something that would motivate the patients to use the app, because yeah, it's really different from noting it down yeah, on paper and noting it down in the app, as we're making like this automatic graphs of the evolution, so they can really see where the peaks were when they were doing better, things like that. So that's the symptom part, which is actually also just a patient-reported outcome. But our other patient-reported outcomes we have under a section named My Tests. And currently there's a EDSS, which is patient-reported. So the normal EDSS test, which is done by neurologists, yeah, was validated. There was a questionnaire made which was validated to be correlated with the results of the real EDSS. And that questionnaire is in the app, as well as the neurological questionnaires on cognition and fatigue. So there also overview graphs can be created from the results over time. And then also a big part of the app, or something we find very important, is empowerment of patients. So we made sure to also include a knowledge center in the app. So there, yeah, we have like a question and answer system on yeah, MS related topics such as MRI, scan quality, and now also COVID-19 and how it can affect MS. So that's also one of the chunks, the knowledge center. And then they can also track which treatment they are on, but not only DMTs, of course, also maybe a certain diet, or maybe they're following a yoga class and they want to see how it affects their symptoms. Then yeah, the idea is that they can try to find what triggers certain symptoms, or yeah, what stabilizes their disease. So yeah, really giving them more insight into what is happening.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically it. But all this data that they're entering is then translated to a nice overview for the MS care team. So when the MS care team is linked with a patient, they can see all the data they entered in time. They can select the time window for which they want to see the data. And the graphs are really are all chronologically linked and put on top of each other. So it's really easy for a neurologist or maybe an MS nurse to try and to see any changes that maybe relate to each other.
So it's actually helping, let's say, the patient in different ways. If I can recap, it's like monitoring of their symptoms, but also, like as you said, a knowledge center. So they can also, you can also educate the patient on certain topics. They can follow certain treatments. And then actually after that, it goes to the clinicians, or the clinicians also inputting certain information into that app.
No, yeah, just so at this moment, that's not the case yet, but we're working towards a system where maybe a clinician could say, okay, I want this patient to fill out this certain PRO, because we know they're struggling in that aspect and we want to have their results for this PRO every 2 weeks, for example. Then we want to make it possible to push a certain PRO into the app of the patient, so they get a notification from their MS care team and then fill it out. But at this point, the only like how the loop goes is that they can print out the data really like in a format of a report, lay it next to the ICO brain report, so the MRI data, and then use it in a consultation to really have a very efficient and productive consultation where a lot of things are discussed. For example, also just to name something, sexual issues can be a bit hard to talk about for patients, but if they can just at home monitor it, then it's very valuable for the MS care team to also have insights in data like this, which may not be talked about in just a face-to-face conversation. So
No, I see. So it also helps indeed the clinician to get a very broad view on how the patient is doing and to not just have these typical consultation points where they ask, but to really have this continuous follow-up of how it is going with the patient on patient-reported outcomes, but also on other levels.
Yeah, so the continuous part is really important because now, typically it's only a yearly neurologist visit. So that's it's very nice to even just have 4 data points a year. But right now we're like giving automatic notifications in the app when a certain PRO hasn't been answered for 1 month. Also to just give the patient an idea of, okay, I have this app, should I fill it out every single day or what is expected from me? But of course, if they answer it each month, it's already a very big difference for the care team, and they get way more insight in the fluctuations of the disease. So that's a good
Okay. No, and another question. So nowadays, it's mainly used by MS patients, right? Patients with multiple sclerosis. Is it also the intention to have other patients on the platform, or patients living with other neurological disorders?
Yeah. So the thing is, the app as it is right now can be easily expanded to other diseases, but it's not that straightforward. For example, if you think about Alzheimer's, these are typically not the people who you can really see using a mobile application. On the other hand, it might be able to help with like the early diagnosis and the monitoring of Alzheimer when, I mean, my grandmother right now, she also has a smartphone, so I guess things are changing and older people also are familiar with using their phone to do all kinds of different things. But it's a bit tricky. I think MS is a very logical group of patients to start with because they're between 20 and 40 years old when they're diagnosed. So a mobile application makes sense. But for example, the icobrain solution is also there for brain trauma. So that would also be a path we could take. At this point, of course, there's also an option where you register just to say, I have another neurological disorder, and then just use the app. But at this moment, it's very tailored towards MS patients. So,
Okay, so mainly MS patients now, but it could maybe be used in the future for example, patients with traumatic brain injury. But already let's say the people with MS is already a big group, of course, that you can help.
We would really create a new app, just maybe call this one iCompanion MS, and then make like an iCompanion TBI, meaning traumatic brain injury. But I guess it would be separate apps.
Yeah, okay, I see. And are there any like similar apps out there, or how is then, let's say, the iCompanion MS app different from other apps?
Yeah, definitely. We're not alone, but what we like, for example, Emmeline is a very popular app, but it's more of a wellness app. So we, as I mentioned, we really have clinically validated PROs, and they mainly just capture symptoms, but also not in a clinically validated way. For example, sometimes it can be nicer for patients to just have like a certain amount of symptoms they're always logging, and not like with us try to log all 12 symptoms each day, because that's a clinically validated PRO. So they're more focused on really making it super user friendly. And of course, that's also our main focus, but we want to combine it with making the data clinically relevant and making sure that neurologists can use this data to maybe put the patients on a better treatment sooner. So that's a bit of the difference. And then of course the whole combination with the subclinical data, I think is also very unique because there's also MS Copilot, which is pretty similar to us, but it's in France right now, so it's pretty France focused, and we're trying to go broader. And I think in that case the subclinical data is what distinguishes us, but the whole medical device part is also very powerful.
Yeah, so indeed, so you're more focused, let's say, on the clinical side as well, because you can then combine it with the subclinical data that icometrics is also having with the icobrain. You just mentioned indeed the medical device. I indeed read that, let's say, the app is certified as a medical device. Was that an important, an important decision that you made because of the, let's say, the clinical focus, or how did that process go? Because I can imagine the wellness apps, for example, aren't certified as medical device apps.
Exactly. We thought it was extremely important because indeed our ultimate goal is to get every patient on the right treatment at the right time. So that's why being a medical device is essential. But of course, the app on its own is like by a lot of regulations wouldn't be seen as a medical device, but the fact that we link it with a medical care team and they can base clinical decisions on the data they see in the portal is what makes it a medical device. So it was very important for us to get that certification. And we took a lot of time completing the technical file, making sure everything was in order, especially with the new medical device regulations coming up. We're really making sure that our technical file has everything it needs, because the regulations in the past, simply because there weren't any softwares used as a medical device, didn't really capture that, and we were just a class 1 device with the old MDD, but now we're going to be a 2A device with a new MDR. So I must say in the last months it really has been a focus to get the technical file together. It's
in order. So that's probably already, let's say, a challenge to indeed make sure you have everything in place for the certification. Were there some other challenges that came along the way, let's say, while you were and the team were developing the iCompanion app?
Yeah, definitely. MS is very variable, so not everyone with MS has the same needs. Of course, we talk to a lot of patients, talk to a lot of neurologists to really try to find the common ground there. But of course, there's a lot of patients who just don't want to ever think about their disease, or let alone fill out an app stating their symptoms. So we really had to find a way to, even for those patients, maybe give them like a very quick way, like a 5-minute check-in of symptoms, some test once a month, to even have those people. So of course you can never please everyone, but that's already one of the big challenges. But at this point we're really trying to get as much MS care teams on the portal as possible. And there's also a big challenge of just changing existing systems that are the current workflow, to change the current workflow of the hospital, because of course it's at this point an additional portal they should open, and then for example, the MS nurse can print out a PDF report, hand it to the neurologist to use during consultation. But yeah, this can easily be seen as, oh, it's something additional time we have to spend. So yeah, right now it's really a challenge to have like a good value proposition to these hospitals, and yeah, trying to find some test cases, because currently in Belgium here we have one test case already, but we're reaching out to all kinds of different hospitals and MS centers trying to get them on board. But yeah, especially with the pandemic, it's not like we can visit the hospitals, really give a nice demo. So yeah, that's if I would say
that's
the
already a
current
big challenge.
challenge, that's the current challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're indeed saying with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's not always easy because you cannot, I mean, you cannot have these conversations so easily with doctors in person. But on the other hand, it's maybe also an opportunity because in a way, this continuous monitoring at home becomes more and more important. So it might help to promote the use. But as you're saying, the challenge with the patients is, of course, that everyone has different needs. So how do you actually then keep them motivated? Is that something you also continuously work on, or how do you try to get, let's say, the patients using the app?
Yeah. Yeah, a very obvious option we have for that is like the typical push notifications you would get. So patients are able to set a certain amount of days they want to get a reminder, then set at which time they want to get a reminder, and that way we really like just want to give them once a day or twice a week a reminder to, hey, it's time for your 5-minute check-in. Yeah, do it like that. So really don't expect from them to be on the app multiple hours a day. That's really not the essence of the app. So that's one thing we do. But right now we're really just thinking indeed about what could motivate a patient to use this app. Of course, some patients just have this intrinsic motivation. They want to be a part of their own disease management. They feel empowered if they can really take it into their own hands. But of course, not everyone is like that indeed. But we really think that linking with the neurologists will be a big motivator, especially if they really notice that when the iCompanion report is used during a consultation, that the consultation goes a lot more smooth and they can have a way nicer conversation with the neurologist. A lot of more things can be discussed. So that's at this point what we think would be the biggest motivator for patients to keep using the app. Just building towards their next neurologist visits, making sure their neurologist can see how they're doing. So yeah.
Yeah, indeed. That's probably an important aspect because then they know that their input is valuable for, let's say, the neurologist in order to give them the best possible treatment. Do you have an idea of how many patients how many patients are actually using the app right now?
So we have about 2,500 registered patients. But yeah, I can already tell you that they're not all active patients. It's like with any mobile application, it's hard to get a high retention rate. But again, we hope with the new HCP portal for healthcare professionals that we will have like an additional motivation to keep using the app. But yeah, it's like any other mobile app. I think we all know we install certain apps and then never look at them again. So that's just the reality of mobile applications, I think.
Yeah, and are these patients, are these all patients then from Belgium or also from other countries?
Yeah, also from other countries, so mainly in Europe indeed, but also a big part, like 30 to 40% from the US. So that's
Mm-hmm.
also interesting. And at this point, we have like 6 different languages that the app can be set to. So Dutch, German, French, English,
Okay.
Spanish, and Italian. So yeah, that was also a very important aspect to us that yeah, the patient could understand everything in the app and that it would not solely be English and maybe hard to understand for some patients.
Okay. Okay, so that's nice. It's actually really for different countries. So what would be, let's say, the near future or the further future plans for the app? Are there any other additions or new functionalities you want to add to the app?
Yeah, we've been talking about like having teleconsultations through the app for a while now. But yeah, we're first trying to get a lot of feedback from the actual clinical practice from the hospitals on the portal, how it is right now on the current functionalities, and first try to get those optimized. And then, yeah, just talk to neurologists, ask them if they think that the teleconsultation tool would be valuable to them. We've already noticed that there's a lot of different opinions on that. And then for the app itself, we will try to add other PROs because now it's mainly disability, fatigue, and cognition. But of course, there's a lot of other relevant things to test. For example, we're now validating a cognitive test. We'll call it iCognition, but it will be parts of iCompanion, and it will test memory, but also information processing speeds. So that's also very exciting and should be added to iCompanion in a rather near future.
Okay.
So yeah.
So still a lot of plans with the app and still a lot of functionalities to add to make it even more useful for different types of patients. Um, so is the app actually free to use? Let's say if patients would be listening right now, would they be able to just go on the internet or with their phone just go to the store and just download the app? Is that how easy it is, or how does it work?
Yeah, so they can download the app in the both of the app stores, so for iOS and for Android, and they can just register on the website. They can also register on the website and later log in with the same credentials in the app. So it's really one device. But yes, it's free, and we want to keep it free for patients. We think it makes no sense to charge patients to use it. If we would charge anyone, it would maybe be the hospitals, and then we're thinking towards kind of like a freemium model where they can use it for free, but then have advanced features if they're willing to pay a certain subscription fee. But
Okay.
definitely not the plan to have patients pay.
Okay. So then, indeed, maybe the neurologist could pay some fee to get some more extensive analysis on the data or things like that. Is that
Looking into reimbursements for the neurologists if they
okay?
would be using it. So yeah, that's where the focus is right now.
Okay. Yeah, so that will be a nice add-on as well if you go into the reimbursement. But that's probably, let's say, another future challenge too.
Yeah, we actually we have one guy at the company really focusing on the reimbursement opportunities.
Okay.
So we're currently looking into it, but indeed, yeah, it's of course it's not that straightforward to have it reimbursed.
No, but at least you're hearing, let's say, in the news a lot of a lot of advances on that side that some monitoring apps are getting reimbursement and even in Belgium. So
Sense that it's now, yeah, it's something new, so it makes sense that it still has to evolve into something common. Yeah, I think there's definitely a future for a reimbursed iCompanion.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so maybe I mean that would be an ideal situation, let's say, to finish this conversation with, let's say, a reimbursed iCompanion app. Is there something else that you'd like to share? Some final words or quotes about people using the app?
Yeah, I would. My main message would be if you found this interesting, then don't hesitate to contact us. Our email address is on the website, or it's support@icompanion.ms. Because we're always really eager to talk to patients, neurologists, everyone, just the people who will be using iCompanion, to make sure that we're meeting their needs as much as possible. So yeah, I would say download the app. If there's something you don't like about it, definitely let us know so we can change it. So yeah, that's my final message.
So okay, so thanks Annabelle. Thank you very much for today's discussion and for explaining a bit more how iCompanion works, but also how it can really have a, let's say, a major impact in this field. And to all listeners out there, please do visit the website Annabelle just mentioned, but also do visit the Brain Innovation Days websites, of course, at braininnovationdays.eu, where we not only will host these podcasts, but also additional publication and material can be found. And then also keep following us on Twitter and LinkedIn to keep up to date with, let's say, the latest of the Brain Innovation Days. And stay tuned because in April we'll have a new digital event. Thank you and goodbye.